You pour your heart into serving others, and yet no one sees the toll it takes on you. Does this sound familiar to you? Have you ever felt like your work is all effort but no joy, and it leaves you stuck in a cycle of exhaustion, only to seek escape at the end of your day, whether it's binge watching the latest Netflix series or scrolling through social media? Many of us focus on making our work easier, but what we truly need is to make our work feel good, to feel aligned with what supports our well being, our vision, our mission, our values. Life is a way of pulling us in a million different directions, urgent deadlines, competing priorities, and the constant pressure to show up for everyone else. It's no wonder that we lose sight of what's most important, keeping our well being at the forefront so that we don't end up feeling drained and disconnected. But what if self alignment became your default, right? Imagine living in a way where taking care of you isn't just a task on your to do list, but it's a way of life, second nature, like brushing your teeth. When you're in alignment, your decisions become clearer, your energy flows more freely, and you show up for what matters most, feeling more natural, not forced. Hi, I'm Leslie Cadet, self-care strategist for ambition, but for ambitious, purpose-driven women just like you, women who are committed to thriving in both their personal and professional lives without sacrificing their well-being. And today we're going to dive into self-alignment, the foundation for creating the life that you want. First, we're going to uncover how self-alignment can act as your internal compass, helping you to prevent emotional fatigue. Second, we're going to discuss why misalignment can often lead to feelings of burnout, which is that silent creeper that's usually not on your radar until you're in it, and resistance, where you feel stuck or frustrated and where it feels like something feels off, preventing fulfillment or joy or sustainable progress, even when you're doing all the right things. And finally, I'm going to guide you through a simple actionable exercise to help you align your daily decisions with your mission and your core values. Today, essentially, is about empowering you, not just to manage your stress, but to live and work in alignment, embracing contentment and prioritizing your quality of life. So let's start by defining emotional fatigue. Now, emotional fatigue is that feeling of being utterly drained, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. That often happens when we spend too much time trying to meet external expectations or live according to other people's priorities. Now, those external expectations could be ones that we've set up for ourselves, right? Not just other people. Not just other people are going to have those external expectations for you. We can set those up for ourselves. We're really good at that. We're really good at multitasking. And I'm not saying this in a positive way. We're really good at making ourselves multitaskers. We're really good at actually making ourselves do more because we live in this world where we think more is better. But it's when we're living in that space, that frame of mind where we think more means better, then we're really kind of living outside of alignment. Over time, this constant effort leaves us feeling disconnected from ourselves. We're unsure of why we're so exhausted. But here's the good news. Emotional fatigue isn't inevitable. Self-alignment can actually act as your internal compass, guiding your energy and focus toward what supports your well-being. Because when you live in alignment with your core values, right, those things that matter most to you, you create that sense of clarity and purpose. And in alignment with your mission, this clarity reduces the mental strain of constantly second guessing your decisions or feeling like you're being pulled in a million different directions. You no longer are spending your energy on things that don't serve you. For example, think about a time when you felt truly aligned, when your actions matched your values and your priorities. How did it feel? Most likely, you felt focused, energized, and confident because you weren't juggling conflicting priorities. Am I right? That's the power of self-alignment. On the other hand, when you're misaligned, it feels like you're swimming upstream or against the current. And every decision takes more energy because you're not sure if it's the right one. Alignment simplifies the process by helping you filter out what doesn't matter and zero in on what does. So instead of feeling drained by the end of your day, you're left with a sense of being fulfilled. That's the shift self-alignment can create. It turns endless to-do lists and second guessing into powerful action that supports your well-being. Now let's talk about how misalignment can cause resistance and even burnout, right? That silent creeper. Misalignment happens when your actions don't align with your values or what supports your vision for your life. It's like working on autopilot. We do a lot of things on autopilot. Like we get up, we get dressed, we brush our teeth, we do our hair, whatever that. We have our shower, we go and do those things that are just autopilot. They're second nature. They become habit, right? You know, I also find that when we're on autopilot, we're doing what we think we should be doing rather than what feels purposeful or meaningful and something that we get to do. Now, over time, this can lead to feeling frustrated. It can lead to procrastination and possibly even burnout. Why? Because when you're misaligned, every step you take feels like you're either swimming upstream or against the current. It's exhausting and it's unproductive. You keep putting in effort, but it doesn't feel like it's moving you closer to what you want. So let me share something I recently learned through watching the Don't Worship Work video series I'm actually currently watching by the faith-driven entrepreneurs community, faith-driven-entrepreneurs.org. It perfectly explains this dynamic. It's the concept of toil and leisure, which was presented by Andy Crouch of Praxis. He also wrote the book, The Life We're Looking For, Reclaiming Relationship in Technological World. He presented the video series I watched yesterday about why good work requires good rest. And it really made a lot of sense to me. What he shared was when your work feels misaligned, it becomes toil, right? Excessive, endless, and fruitless. You're pouring your energy into tasks, but there's no satisfaction or goodness flowing back to you. Like at the end of the day, you're not just tired because it was fulfilling. You're actually tired because nothing meaningful came out of all of your effort. Like you just don't feel really good about what happened. And when your life is full of toil or excess, you're doing so much. Like as I said, we live in this world of more, more, more. What happens? You actually start to seek leisure, a fruitless escape from that labor, whether it's binge watching TV, like, the latest Netflix series that I was saying earlier I mentioned, or it's scrolling through social media to see what other people are doing, or, to see checking out your competition, or numbing out in other ways. Leisure becomes a way to distract yourself from the disappointment of a day that, lacked purpose or alignment. But here's the catch. Toil and leisure are actually part of the same cycle. Misalignment keeps you stuck in this loop, leaving you drained, dissatisfied, and disconnected. And over time, the emotional toll of living this way becomes really heavy. This is where burnout factors in. I talked about the silent creeper of burnout. Most people are not even aware of it. They look at the symptoms as just like having an off day. I'm tired just because I didn't sleep well last night, not looking at the actual patterns that are actually building up to them moving into burnout and not recognizing it. You see, burnout isn't just about doing too much. It's doing too much of the wrong things or doing too much by pushing yourself to exhaustion. It's about expending your time and your energy and doing the things that don't serve your mission, your values, or your priorities. Maybe not even, maybe having those days where you think, oh, I've got all this energy, and you work hours upon hours, especially if you have ADHD tendencies and you might be that super hyper focused personality where you work on a task and before you know it, 5 or 6 hours has gone by, but it's drained a lot of your time and it's taken away some of that time that you needed for other things, right? And so it's really learning to really recognize that can happen to you. And you could be spending a lot of time and energy on things that are just not serving your mission, your values, or priorities, or you're just not really taking the time to structure it in a way that it's not sucking up all of your time. This creates the resistance piece, right? That feeling of being stuck or unmotivated because deep down, your inner compass is telling you that something is off. Or I like to say your inner canary stops singing, right? And it's the indication that something is off. Now, on the flip side, when your actions align with your core values, you actually can break free from this cycle because your work becomes fulfilling, your energy flows more naturally, and you feel that sense of accomplishment at the end of your day. So ask yourself this: are you stuck in the cycle of toil and leisure? Or are you moving toward a life of alignment? Because, again, we live in this world, a world where we actually celebrate people who can do so much, not recognizing that that is really not necessarily good for their well-being, because someone could end up in a burnout cycle or multiple burnout cycles because of this type of mindset, believing that more is better, doing more is better, pushing themselves to exhaustion is okay because they meet a deadline, a goal, and then they think they can rest afterwards. But what ends up happening if you continue repeating a cycle like this and you end up in burnout isn't easy just to come out of. Like, you don't just, snap your fingers, flip a switch, and it's done. It can take weeks, sometimes even months to overcome it. How do I know this? I've experienced it multiple times, and that's why I talk a lot about it, so that you don't have to experience it. Have you learned that maybe it's really about learning that it's actually not about making life easy, but it's more about creating a quality of life where you feel more joy, more fulfillment, and contentment? Or returning to the concept of toil. Are you living a life where you're so focused on making your work easier, right? You're trying to see, like, how can I make my job easier, that you haven't yet discovered how to make your work feel truly good and meaningful. And that's what's so important. And I think that's what happens to us as entrepreneurs, that we begin loving what we do, and then we get into these cycles of push, 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 and it kind of sucks the joy out of it, right? And so I ask these questions because it's really easy to be so driven by excitement for our mission, again, like in the beginning, that we push and push only to find that our work no longer feels fulfilling. I've even had come to a moment in what I do as a self-care strategist. At one point in my early days as a coach, I wanted to quit multiple times because I kept pushing myself. So again, when you are doing that and you are pushing yourself and you are feeling like your life no longer feels fulfilling, it starts to feel like a trap, something we've unintentionally confined ourselves in, making it harder to experience the joy and the purpose that we set out to create in the first place. So think about it. When you're caught in this cycle of toil, what happens is you're often chasing productivity for the sake of productivity, right? You're chasing productivity for the sake of productivity, meaning doing more, achieving more, but not really aligning your efforts with what matters to you, and definitely not feeling good about it. That's the essence of misalignment. It's not that we're not working hard, because hard work is okay, but it's that our hard work feels disconnected from our deeper purpose and our values, which can keep us feeling from feeling that joy and contentment with what we do. And so when your work lacks that connection, right, it stops feeling meaningful. It drains us, not just physically, but emotionally. That's when we start to lean into leisure, right? Not because it refreshes us, but because we're trying to escape the exhaustion and the dissatisfaction that misaligned effort creates. So the question really becomes, how can you shift from this cycle of toil and leisure to a life where your work feels good, where it supports your well-being and aligns with your purpose? Well, this is where self-alignment becomes so important, because when you're aligned, your work energizes you instead of depleting you, and your rest truly restores you instead of just helping you to escape. Now, self-alignment is more than just a way to prevent emotional fatigue. It has the potential to create a ripple effect that transforms how you approach every aspect of your life. When you're aligned with your mission, your why for what you do in this world, your purpose and your values, they help you to navigate the world in alignment with your purpose. You gain that sense of clarity that makes your decision making easier, and you become more confident in that. Instead of feeling torn between conflicting priorities, you know exactly where your focus should be, and that frees up mental and emotional energy. Life will always bring challenges. That's just how it is. Unexpected situations, unexpected setbacks, moments of uncertainty. But when you are aligned with your mission, with your values, with your purpose, with the things that really matter to you, with making sure you take care of your overall well-being, those challenges don't feel as overwhelming. Now, this clarity can strengthen your emotional resilience, so that then your challenges become opportunities for growth. stepping stones instead of roadblocks, because you're operating from a place of inner stability and purpose. So let me share an example to illustrate this. Imagine you're facing a tough situation, like maybe it's a tough decision today. You're balancing a demanding project. It could be balancing a demanding project and you're trying to balance that with family commitments. You're worried that this project might take away from precious family time, right? Leaving you feeling guilty. But on the flip side, if you prioritize your family, you fear your effort on the project won't be as good, and that might lead to resentment. This internal tug of war is where self-alignment becomes essential, because when you're aligned, you're able to look at decisions through the lens of your values. You learn to ask yourself things like, does this serve what matters most to me? And with that clarity, you can make a choice that feels both confident and aligned. And the thing is about, if you've heard the term work-life balance, it isn't about having an equal amount of time for work and an equal amount of time for your personal life, because that's just not how life works. Some days or seasons, or however it works for you, some months might be more work focused, still making sure that you have intentional family time. And some months might be a little easier work focus because you've really strategically set yourself up that way that there is more time for family time. It's really what aligns with your life. This ripple effect really does extend beyond decision making, because when you operate from alignment, you are not just surviving, you are thriving. You're creating a life where you feel both successful and fulfilled personally and professionally. Because it's not about doing more, right? It is really about doing what matters most to you, what brings you joy and fulfillment of a life well lived. And self-alignment isn't just a one-time shift. Self-care, I've talked about this multiple times. It's not a one time you do something and then that's it. You never do it. It's a lifestyle choice. Taking care of you is a lifestyle choice. So it is a proactive way of living. It allows you to respond to life's challenges with resilience and clarity, helping you to stay focused on what supports your values, your mission, your purpose, your lifestyle, your well-being, and helping you to live that quality of life. And when you are thriving, the people around you feel that energy too. It becomes contagious because alignment doesn't just benefit you, it creates a positive ripple effect in your relationships, in your work, and your community. Now, let's wrap up today with a quick exercise. As I said, I promised this for you to help you apply what we've talked about. I want you to take a moment to reflect and write this down. So, identify one current commitment or activity in your life that feels draining. Something that leaves you exhausted or unfulfilled. Now, it could be a project where you underestimated the time needed, leaving you pushing yourself to exhaustion. Or it could be a daily task that feels more like busy work rather than productive work, or even a habit like binge watching Netflix, in the middle of the day. You could start with just one episode, but before you know it, you've lost hours of your time that you intended to spend on other things that really matter to you as well. Once you've pinpointed that draining activity, then you ask yourself, does this align with my values? Does it support my vision and my mission for my life? Because these are ways, this is really going to help you to get more in alignment with the life you want to live. I talk about living in an extraordinary life. Well, it starts with you designing your extraordinary life by intentionally aligning yourself with the things that matter to you to help you live that quality of life. So thinking about that, helping you to really see what is draining you so you can start asking, how do you get back into that alignment? Does it nurture your well-being? Ultimately, is it helping you to live the life you want, or is it adding unnecessary stress? And finally, you want to decide what to do about it, right? If it's a project that needs more time, can you reflect on what's required and then ask for an extension? Because a lot of the time, when we're asked to do something, and I learned this, when I was working full-time as a legal assistant way back in the day, before I started doing paralegal work, that I was working for two extremely busy senior partners, and we came up with a plan, a system that worked for us so that I knew when something was urgently needed, like right now, something that needed to be done by the end of the day, and something that needed to be done sometime this week. And so it's really being able to ask yourself, really, is this thing that I've been asked to do, did I put the timeline on it? And Or is this something that I can actually reflect on and see, what do I need to do in order to be able to finish it well, and then be able to go back and say, hey, I need a little bit more time because I didn't realize I needed to do all of these X, Y, Z. And in order for me I want to really do a great job. And I feel like if you give me this extra day or two, that I'm going to be able to, give you this product that I think is going to be really well-rounded and what you're looking for. Right. So it's really being able to take stock of that, not always put on your plate that if someone asks you to do something that they mean right now, because it's not always the case. If a task is draining your energy, can you delegate it? Can you delay it? Or can you just drop it altogether? Because sometimes we have things on our calendars that are busy work. We think they're supposed to be done. In fact, you might be doing something every single day, thinking you're supposed to do it every single day. And maybe it's just not necessarily an everyday task, but it's because you've structured your calendar to make sure that you're filling your time to make yourself look like you're being busy. But it's not, is it being productive, or is it just doing busy work, right? So by going through this process of elimination, you're taking a step towards intentional energy management and efficient use of your time. Remember, alignment doesn't happen all at once. It starts with small shifts. It starts small, because it is the decisions that we make today, even the small ones, right? The decisions that you make today, even the small ones, can really set the tone for the clarity and the resilience that you will feel tomorrow, right? You don't have to do it all. But what you should do is think about what you do should matter, meaning what the work that you do shouldn't be like, oh, I have to do everything all at once or everything every day. How can I align my days where I'm doing what matters each day and what's important, what's aligned with the mission that I'm on, aligns with my values, aligns with my purpose, the structure, my overall goals, right? So that's what I wanted to leave you with. Before I close, I just want to quickly recap what we covered. We talked about how self-alignment can act as your internal compass, your inner canary, if you will, preventing emotional fatigue and helping you to live with purpose. We explored how misalignment can really lead to resistance and possibly burnout, that silent creeper that it's not even on our radar until all of a sudden, boom, we're in it, as well as the potential to keep you stuck in cycles of frustration. And we discussed the ripple effect of alignment, how it not only can boost your clarity and resilience, but it can also create a foundation for thriving, living a quality of life, both personally and professionally. Now, I'd really love to hear from you. Like, what was your biggest takeaway from today? What's one small shift you're committing to this week that aligns with your mission, your values, and your well-being? And if what I shared with you today resonated with you and you're ready to take a deeper dive, maybe you want to know more, like how, maybe you need to talk to someone to actually help you flesh that out, take a deeper dive into self-alignment and emotional resilience, I would really love to invite you to a complimentary wellness strategy session with me. In these sessions, we take a closer look at your current situation, identify practical ways to help you bring more clarity, energy, and resilience into your life. And we'll uncover how emotional fatigue or misalignment might be impacting your daily life and holding you back from the clarity and fulfillment that you're actually striving for. We'll identify simple, actionable steps to help you align your actions with what truly supports your well-being so that you can start to feel more energized and in control of your time and your priorities. And also on these calls, if it feels like the right next step, I'll share with you the opportunity to join my program, the Whole Soul Blueprint, to dive even deeper into creating alignment and emotional resilience in a way that works for you. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I know how precious your time is. I'm deeply grateful that you chose to invest some of it here with me, reflecting on what alignment and well-being can mean for your life. Remember, self-alignment isn't just about finding balance that works for you. It's about creating a life where your energy, choices, and your actions reflect what supports you overall. It's about thriving, not just surviving. And as you go about your day, I encourage you to take even one small step toward alignment, whether it's pausing to reflect on a choice, if it's letting go of something that feels draining, or simply giving yourself permission to rest. Know that those small shifts can lead to big transformations. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep showing up for the life that you want, one aligned choice at a time. I'll see you next time.